Hey everybody, welcome to Muscular Development's preview of the 2021 Olympia. Joining me, who else? Giles Tiger Thomas, all the way from Tiger Towers, somewhere in the United Kingdom. Welcome, Giles. How are you, sir? What's that say? The 2002.
Yeah, that was my first press pass I ever got for the Olympia. Got me backstage everywhere. I was backstage with Ronnie Coleman, Kevin Navarone, Joe Weeder. Oh wow! What an that was when you really got all access with your press pass, you know, because they got stricter as the years went on.
Yeah. I haven't been backstage at Olympia since I want to say like 1996. Probably was the last year I think I was backstage. It was Atlanta. Yeah. After that, I was never able to get backstage again. Now forget about it. Unless you're Shaquille O'Neal, they don't want you back there. So it's fine.
And I got so many photos as well, which have never been seen from backstage. Kevin Navarone practicing his posing, Art Atwood, Craig Titus. Chris Cormier, Ronnie. Oh man, never been seen.
What were you, like 17 years old?
Yeah, let's say 17.
Wow. 18. Well, I know in that year I turned 22 that year, and you're 46 now.
45.
45. So yeah, you would have been about 17 or 18, something like that.
No,
anyway,
26.
No, wait a minute. Oh, what year?
76.
We're talking about 2000. Yeah, you're right. My math is the worst. I have to start off with a slight correction because I did wrap-ups of the Arnold with you and Jose, and on both I made an error that they delighted in pointing out. You know, some people just love to point out your mistakes. I was talking and I suckered you into it because I think it was infectious. We were talking about how Logan Franklin would do at the Olympia. And I knew he wasn't qualified for the Olympia because when he took second after the Texas, we did a run line and I make up the graphic titles. And the title was No Olympia, but coming for the Arnold. So I was well aware he was not in this Olympia, but still, I think I was so impressed with him, just so overwhelmed with the package he brought to the Arnold Classic. I had him in the Olympia conversation with both you and Jose. So my bad, everybody. So sorry. I hope can you forgive me? Let's move on. We got the Olympia coming up in just a couple of days. Wow. The worst part is no Giles. Oh, damn it. You didn't want to live in Dubai for a couple of weeks? What's going on with you?
Well, and you know what? Also, Ronnie, because he's launching his app, and obviously I've been there almost from the start with RCSS and been involved with Ronnie, and I do nothing but a podcast with Ronnie. And they've rented this really big sort of posh house in Orlando. They wanted me to go stay with Ronnie at Ronnie's house for 2 or 3 days, film with Ronnie. I don't know, maybe train with him as well. And I said, guys, I can't be away from home for like a month. Yeah. And I was turning down MD, the Olympia, Ronnie Coleman. So I'm really feeling this one, mate. I've got to be honest.
COVID world, it stinks. Well, let's focus on the positive. We still have the greatest bodybuilding fitness competition in the world happening. We got to start off. We're only going to focus on the men's divisions. Lady Tiger, Lauren is going to be doing a women's preview because we have 10 divisions, guys. If Giles and I try to do that, you're not going to watch 5 hours, are you guys? Come on, be honest. So let's start with Big Ramy, the defending champion. I haven't seen any physique pictures of him at all. Dennis James puts a lot of training footage up, but he's always up in a t-shirt or something. The face looks all sucked up and drawn, but I don't know. I mean, he just basically needs to repeat what he did last year because we're going to go through this list. But if he can look as good as last year, maybe a little better, I don't think anybody's beating him this year. What say you?
I'm predicting we get a Ramy at around about 280 with a smaller waist. I think the quads are going to be a little bit more in proportion this year. Okay. I've just got a feeling. I've got a funny hunch. But like you said, there's been nothing. I mean, he really hasn't guest posed. So we've got no real indication of how he's looking. And I saw a video that Dennis James posted the other day, and it was just him doing some arms. And of course, his skin looks thin, and the face looks drawn. All the signs are good. But I have heard that he's a little bit smaller because, I mean, when he won was it one of the Arnold Classics, he was 305.
I think 315 when he went on Brazil.
Oh, 315, right? Okay,
yeah, but I heard he came down. Yeah, he wasn't in shape at 315. Trust me.
And then he came down to 305, and then for the Olympia last year they brought him down to 289. So I think he's going to be around maybe 285. I think, and the thing is, that's still going to be the biggest guy up there, the widest. Yeah. But like you said, he knows after last year what he needs to do to kind of get himself in condition. Chad knew, he really had to push. I had Chad on with Ronnie Coleman, and he says, I push Ramy to places he'd never been, and we know exactly what we need to do for this year as well. and you're just going to keep repeating that kind of that level of punishment, that Lisa is like really pushing his carbs down, really making him do lots of cardio to really kind of take his physique to the level he needs to be to just hold on to the title. But what I want to see, I think he's going to win again, but I want to see an even better package this year, because last year what he brought was shocking, because we actually brought aesthetics into the conversation with Ramy, which I never thought we would ever do. And he achieved that, and that was incredible. But I'm expecting to see further improvements to his physique. Like I said, with the thighs more in proportion, I think maybe the waist will be even smaller, and I think he's gonna take the win again.
Okay. Now, normally I would talk about guys who've been in the top 3 before, but I'm going to move right up to Nick Walker just because he's the talk of the town. Everyone's been talking about him since he won the Arnold. People are speculating he can be as high as second. Some people think he can win. I personally don't know. I have never seen, like I said, New York Pro was one level. That's great. But then I was skeptical because I never saw him at the Arnold Classic level next to guys like Akim, and I expected Bonac to be there. That's another level. And then the Olympia, that's the top tier. It doesn't get any harder than that. I've never seen him next to Brandon or Hadi, Bonac. So I don't know, but there's a lot of high hopes riding on this kid. He's just turned 27. Freak. He's massive. He might have surpassed Ramy, at least in the Western Hemisphere, as the most popular bodybuilder. I'm sure over in Europe and Middle East and places, Ramy's still the king as far as the fans are concerned. But let me tell you, this kid he's on a roll right now. So I know this is idle speculation, but that's what we're paid to do. So what do you think is going to happen with Nick Walker?
I think he's going to be battling for 4th with William Bonac.
Okay.
I think top 3 is going to be Hadi, Ramy, and Brandon. I think Hadi's going to. Hadi's got next level detail, and he's got the same kind of muscle and thickness that Nick has. And I think Nick's gonna. I really want to see Nick and Bonac go head to head. I think he could take Bonac, but I think it's going to be a real fight. I think the top 3 in my mind is pretty clear. I mean, even you saw. I mean, I know it doesn't really indicate, but you saw on the poster they had Hadi, Ramy, and Brandon. I mean, that's exactly how I have it as well. So I think that's a pretty good prediction. But I'd like to see him, because he said he was 248, was he?
248.
And he's going to bring him down 2 pounds. I'd like to see the back shots a little bit crisper, because I think if he can get the back raidable bicep a little crisper, I think he's in Phil Heath territory. I think he's really that impressive. I think he's that good. But I would like to see. I think people are saying his condition was sensational at the Arnold. It was, but I think it's going to get exposed next to someone like Hadi, who has the same amount of muscle, but really has another level of detail. I think Nick's still a bit of a diamond in the rough, believe it or not. But I think he'll be. I think 4th at highest, 5th at absolute lowest.
Yeah, and muscle maturity we talk about all the time. It is a real thing. And like I said, he just turned 27. He looks that good now. I don't think he needs to get much bigger. But let's say he gets a little bit bigger and he improves in muscle maturity every year. I think 2, 3, 4 years from now, we're going to see his final form. I don't think he's there yet. Diamond in the rough is very accurate. So if he makes 4th place in his first Olympia, that's outstanding. Most pros never even make it to the Olympia. Most people with pro cards never even see that Olympia stage. So first Olympia.
I would like to see him a little bit more polished in when he's just stood in the lineup. I think he relaxes too much. I think that, and I know it's really nitpicking, but it's such a minor, tiny detail that, when they're scanning for first call out, I think that's one. I mean, I'm really nitpicking here, but that's one thing I think that he should pay attention to when he's stood, because I did see some bad photos at the Arnold where he's just kind of stood there and it doesn't look good, because even though he's got very thick, bumpy abs, the waistline does look a bit, I mean, I know he lifts his arms up and it all comes in beautifully, but you've got to really be like a Labrada or a Flex Wheel or a Shaun when you're stood there, because, this is the Olympia, this is the best of the best. And you've got to pay attention to these things. Yeah,
when we have to be nitpicky, because that's how the judges are. They have a very, very difficult task. They have the very best people in the world. These guys all look phenomenal. So you have to pick them apart. You have to, or else what are you going to have, a 20-way tie? Everybody wins? No. All right. Well, let's move on to 2019 Mr. Olympia. Wants his title back. Been training very hard at the Oxygen Gym in Kuwait. Yeah. All the way from Tennessee. Brandon Curry. Brandon's legs look a little bit bigger. I think a little bit bigger. They're not Ramy legs. They're never going to be Ramy legs. But that's been the knock on Brandon, because he's got plenty. His upper body is amazing. And his lower body is very, very good. It's just not as good as the upper body. His upper body is so round and full, bursting, especially when he has that waist pulled in nice and tight. Shots like his front double bicep are just astonishing. But can he get his title back? What do you think?
Do you know what? I wouldn't bet against it. I really wouldn't. I think Brandon Curry. I think we've everyone has been guilty of underestimating Brandon Curry. We underestimated him in every year, really. I think So, but like I said, you triggered something there when he said about the legs. I can't remember when I saw a picture, but it was a few weeks ago, and from the front, his legs look kind of more. They like Derek Lunsford's legs. They've kind of expanded. They've got thicker and more. There's more sort of width and depth and muscle there. And I mean, his legs look fantastic from the side. I mean, the way his hamstring pops out, it looks great from the side. His legs look very good from the front, but you know what it is with Brandon. It's when he turns to the back, So if his legs are improved from the back, then that's going to be really the deciding factor of whether he kind of he could win this, or he gets kind of like third, fourth, or something like that. But I'd like to see the fullness and pop of when he won the Arnold Classic in 2019 with the condition of 2020. Because 2020, when he lifted his arms up, I mean, his waist, it looked like he shaved 4 inches off his waist. It was incredible, and the condition was nice and sharp, but he kind of lacked. I spoke to Patrick Tuor about this, and he said he preferred the pop that he had the 2019 Olympia. Because he's got that kind of just full round muscle. And if he's not really full to bursting, I think if he nails this, I'm just going to be excited to see the best ever version of Brandon. And also he's been quite quiet as well. He hasn't really been giving much away. He's been kind of under the radar, and that's usually a good sign, I think.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Yeah, don't write him off, guys. I mean, he's the Olympia champ. He won Olympia. Now, the Persian Wolf, Hadi Choopan, this year he spent the most time in the U.S. before the show ever, I believe. I think he's been here for about 5 weeks already. He's been here a long time, with Hani Rambod overseeing every detail, every workout, every meal, every cardio session, posing practice. And I think it was last year, he only showed up, I think it was like 2 days before the show. And it was just a mad dash to try to get the water off him from the long flights. And he still, we saw him go Friday from 4th place, moved up to 3rd place on Saturday. And it was just because he had to get rid of the water. So he's not in that situation this time where he has to try to make up for last minute calamities of flight and things. Everything should be perfect. I don't know if we've ever seen him in this situation before, where he's had that much time to be in the US, ready to go. A lot of people think he could be as high as 2nd. And of course, the diehard Hadi fans say, number 1, he win. And maybe he will. What do you think, though? I mean, he's got a crazy physique. You discovered him basically 2017. So I never heard of him before. You told me about him after that show. And this is an exciting year for Hadi fans. I'm really excited because the fact is we've never seen the best version of Hadi Choopan. Somebody called him on the MD Instagram Hadi Choopan. Hadi Choopan for win. Okay. And we've never seen the best version of him. We've seen him, like you said, at a last minute dash. And like you said, the stress and these things that always play a part. And I was always amazed at what he brought. 3rd in 2019, 4th in 2020, but at the finals he got straight seconds, didn't he? Pretty much straight seconds. I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously, he eventually got the 4th place. But I'm just excited that I think we're going to see the best version of Hadi Choopan ever, because I'm hoping we see a 2019 Vancouver or 2017 San Marino look with that kind of that kind of mind-blowing. But for me, he's fighting for 2nd with Brandon Curry. I think 2nd and 3rd is going to be between Brandon Curry and Hadi. 4th and 5th between Nick and
Bonac.
Yeah. So I think for me, I've got a feeling he probably will take 2nd. But I'm obviously rooting for Brandon as well. But I think that's going to be the real battle, seeing those two go at it. Yeah.
Now, as for Bonac, we missed him in Columbus. He never made it. I think he's already in the US now. So hopefully, my goodness, we're recording this on Monday, and they have to be on stage. They have to be at an athletes meeting, a press conference and all that Thursday. So he better be here. But Bonac, I wanted to see him at the Arnold against Nick Walker. Didn't get to see it. The Olympia is his wheelhouse. That's the show that he's all these guys want to win. He's been 2nd place. I don't know what he looks like exactly right now. And it doesn't matter because things can change in a few days regardless. But yeah, I agree with your assessment. Probably probably fighting for about 4th or 5th, somewhere around there, because this is a tough top 5, very tough.
William Bonac is Mr. Consistent. And I mean, his record at the Olympia has been a continual climb. It was 13th, 8th, 5th, 2nd, 4th, 5th. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, it was 3rd in 2017 as well, but I had him beaten Big Ramy that year. But I was a little bit disappointed last year with what he brought to the Olympia. Because he just looked very flat and his chest disappeared, and it didn't have that, because he's such a round, bubbly, thick, I mean, but his condition is always good. I just want to see that pop back that we saw at the Arnold Classic last year when he beat Ramy and Dexter. He's kind of like the new generation Shaun Ray, where I think he's going to hold on to top 5 until he basically calls it a day. I mean, so I've got him 4th, 5th.
That's fair. Now, I haven't been speaking much about this young man, Hunter Labrada, recently, but I haven't forgotten about him. He's excellent. He was 8th place last year, correct? Yeah. And he obviously wants to move up. He's had a full year to get ready for this. He did have to qualify again, unfortunately, which means he had to peak twice, but I do see improvements in him. He's got phenomenal shape, big kid, excellent poser. Can he move up from 8th place? It's so packed up. This is a packed top 10.
I've got Hunter in the 8th to 10th range.
Okay.
I think I like him. He's impressed me more and more. I thought I didn't really get the hype at the start, but if you look at his track record, it kind of goes against, what I was thinking, because he's won 2 shows. He's, 2 pro shows, Tampa and Chicago. He's been 8th in Olympia. So the kid's got a track record and he's very consistent. And he's another one. I think remember last year, it was all Hunter. Now all the attention's on Nick, the kind of young. So maybe that's a good sign. Maybe he's just, he's going to pop back into our minds as soon as he walks back on stage. Because, but I think, he's in my conversation for the 8th to 10th, which is still very, very good, because I think this is going to be, an even more stacked Olympia this year.
Yeah, I think so too. So that leads us to Ian Valliere, who's been on a roll, 2 pro wins, just took 2nd place at his first Arnold Classic. Ian, Mr. Consistency again. Patrick Tour keeps bringing him in sharper and sharper at every show somehow. I don't know if he can get any leaner than I just saw him at the Arnold for the finals. That was crazy. Yeah. But that's probably somewhere in the 7th, 8th, 9th, somewhere around there, which would be excellent. I mean, look at the guys he's up against. Of course, everybody wants to win, but geez, you can't all win, guys. But I think Ian's got an excellent shot. How high do you think he might be able to get?
Well, he's on my list of 6th to 8th, I think is going to be between Rowley, Valliere, and Akim.
Okay.
And I think Valliere is probably going to have, he is going to have the best condition. Without a doubt. But I saw a post today, and Patrick kind of hinted that he was going to bring Valliere the best ever. I mean, like you said, his condition was pretty much perfect at the Arnold Classic. Yeah. But he did fantastic last year, taking 7th. I just hope he can duplicate almost what he brought to the Arnold Classic at the night show, because he's the kind of the new Mr. Saturday Night, isn't he? Because he always nails it for the night show. He does what Phil Heath used to do, Yeah. So I'd like to see. If he goes up against Rowley and Akim, I think he could be fighting for 6th. So high 6th, low 8th.
Okay. Next up from the United Kingdom, James Hollingshead, the Shed. We have not seen him on stage since last fall. He qualified for the 2020 Mr. Olympia, did not do it. Qualified with another show. What did he win? The British Grand Prix after that? And then he qualified for this show. So he's had a full year to improve. And of course, his coach, Patrick Tour, he's great with putting up progress pictures. He does not hide his clients, leave anything to mystery. James is looking crazy, round, full, grainy. Man, this is his first Olympia, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So, top 10 in your first Olympia would be amazing. I think he's got that locked up. I don't see him falling out of the top 10. It's just, man, it's a very, very crowded top 10 here. So I don't know where he's going to fit in.
Well, I've got him in my conversation for 8th to 10th, fighting it out with Akim, Justin Rodriguez, and him. And possibly Hunter. So I think he's a top 10 guy potentially, but he's going to be big. He's going to be conditioned, and don't forget, he's going to be better than he was last year, because he has been working non-stop since last year. And he's one of those guys like Shaun, Clarida. He's going to be better than he was the year before. He's not going to bring the same. So Yeah, I've got I'd be interested to see him up against like Hunter and Rodriguez and Akim. So potentially, yeah, as high as maybe sort of 9th, as low as 11th. But like I said, this is a very stacked Olympia, and we'll see how he goes up against, how he compares against the really, really top names.
Yeah, next up, a guy who hasn't been getting a lot of hype lately, just because he qualified earlier in the season. We're talking about Patrick Moore from Texas. He qualified by winning the Cali Pro, and that was back in, I believe, May. So a lot of times when you qualify earlier in the season, you kind of get forgotten because people are focusing on the guys who qualify later on in the season, the Knicks, the Ians. So we haven't seen much from him, but on his social media, he's in great shape. He's getting bigger and better all the time, keeps his tiny waist, crazy shoulders, crazy arms. Legs used to be pretty bad. They're definitely pretty good now. Got some sweeps, some size to him. But he's going to be fighting too. This is good Lord. This is a tough Olympia this year. This is one of the best lineups I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
So Patrick Moore.
I think it's a bit of a big guys show, this one this year. I mean, you've got guys like James and Rodriguez and Akim and even Valliere, really, these are really big, heavy guys. So, I mean, if maybe some of these guys are off and he brings really like the kind of condition he brought in 2019 when he took 10th, I think then he's going to look good, but I think he's going to struggle to make top 10, mate. I think he's more in like 11th to 15th range. Yeah. And I've not seen anything on social media that's really blown my mind yet, but the best might be yet to come.
Yeah. And guys, when we're talking about people who are going to be toward the bottom end of the placing at the Mr. Olympia, they're still the best of that. I mean, they had to win a contest to get there, or they had to be top 5 last year. It takes a lot. These are the elites. So every man we're talking about in this preview is incredible. Justin Rodriguez, he's had a great year. I didn't even have him really on my radar for the Arnold, and he really pulled off a pretty strong showing. I don't know why I sometimes forget about him or I don't rate him as high as I should, because he's excellent, especially when he won that Indy Pro to start the season off. That's probably the best I've ever seen him. Wide as he is tall, he's so wide. His shoulders are, he might have the best clavicle width for someone his height out of anybody in this conversation. But Justin, very, very consistent, definitely wants this title, and or at least he wants a very high placing. But here we go again. Good Lord, look at this lineup, guys. So you have Justin somewhere 8th, 9th, 10th?
Yeah. I think he was the kind of dark horse of the Arnold Classic that we were speculating, weren't we, with the Arnold Classic on who the dark horse was going to be. Yeah. And with him taking 4th place at the Arnold Classic, I think he was, because at the judging, I was messaging Patrick Tour saying, I think you've got to worry about Justin, because if Justin improves and Valliere kind of slips, I said he's gonna take 3rd place here. Yeah. But then he actually kind of came back not as good, and the stomach was a bit, maybe ate too much or something, and he kind of didn't look as good at the night show, and he kind of slipped back down, and then Valliere jumped up to 2nd over Coelho. Yeah. But I'm a huge Rodriguez fan. I love this guy's physique. I think he's another, even though he's done so many shows, he's still someone that I mean, there's a guy that could do what Akim did last year and jump into the top 6. Because he's really, I think he's underrated. Even with all the shows he's done and all the great placings, I think he's someone that really deserves to be talked about more. Yeah.
Next up, Mohamed Shaaban, who's done a few shows this year. I want to say 4, 5. Very, very consistent this year. He's someone I didn't rate at all a couple of years ago, as I've said before, but tremendous improvements. He's put on so much muscle, kept really good shape, comes in condition. I think it's going to be tough for him, though. This is a tough Olympia. Top 10 would be amazing if he could crack that top 10, Mohamed.
I just want to see him in insane, like Hassan. I just want to see him bring insane condition and bring the best condition of the year. Because if there's one show you want to look your absolute best, especially if you've done 4, 5, 6, 7 shows or whatever, like some of these guys have, all the Egyptians have, then you really want to kind of go out on, even if you get like a 13th or a 14th, at least you can say, right, okay, well, I brought my absolute best at the end of the year to the Mr. Olympia.
Right. So that takes us to Akim Williams. People say I say Akim. I say Akim most of the time, but he sort of dropped the ball at the Arnold Classic. He was somebody I thought was going to be in the run for the win. Wasn't at 100%, a little bit off, and it cost him dearly. He wasn't in contention for the win at the Arnold, but condition issues can be fixed. So he had 2 weeks between these 2 shows. He wasn't off by much. He's coached by Abdullah Otabi, Brendan Curry's coach. So I don't see why it's not possible that they could tighten him up considerably. And this guy was 6th place last year. He's a big man with great shape. If he pulls it off, if he pulls that condition off, looks as good as he did last year or better, I don't see top six out of the possibility at all.
I have a theory with Akim. When I saw how he looked at the Arnold Classic, Abdullah messaged me, his coach, on the morning, and he said, Akim, 10 pounds lighter than Puerto Rico. And I think they're not going to bring him down. They're going to bring him up for the Olympia. Because to me, he looked like 2 weeks out. And I think he's one of these guys that they really have to fight to fill out, because he needs to be at the weight he was last year to get that pop. Because for me, his physique, especially his back shots, he wasn't popping. And I think they just brought him in almost as he was. That's my theory. But I think they're going to bring him up. They're going to bring him up for the Olympia, because with that kind of amount of thick muscle, you need to really fill these guys out. You can't remember when he came second to Morel at was it Toronto in 2018?
Yeah.
And they brought him down and he just looked worse. He came down in body weight, whereas some guys get harder and better. He just looks flat and unimpressive. So you've got to get him back up to like the 265, I think, plus to really get that impressiveness. And then I think you'll see a harder, better version, because he'll just be fuller. And so I think that's the case with these really big guys like Akim. But I for some reason, I think he's going to get about 7th, 8th this year. I don't think he's going to make top 6 again.
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen. We don't know. We're just making predictions, guys.
Yep.
Ruli Winklaar. We said it. We're saying his name right, guys. Ruli, like I said, you saw him in Spain. He had really improved drastically since I had just seen him a couple weeks before that at the Chicago Pro in, where was that, Atlanta? Yeah, it's hard to keep track. I don't know what further improvements he's made since Alicante. I don't know if he's anywhere near the Ruli that we saw a couple of years back, 2018, when he took 3rd place at this show, or the Ruli that won the 2016 Arnold Australia. He's had some really good looks in his career, and I hope we haven't seen the last of those. I hope he brings it back at least just one more time for this Olympia.
I said in my MD Globe Muscle Buzz column, I said, if you can't consider yourself a true bodybuilding fan unless you've got a Ruli Winklaar poster on your bedroom wall, I said, you can't, you're not a fan of bodybuilding. I'm sorry. Because I'm really rooting for Ruli to pull it out the bag, because what he did between Chicago and Alicante was a huge improvement. And that was in 3 weeks. But he pulled out the Arnold, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I think this was a wise move. I think that was smart. So fingers crossed, if he's done 50% of what he did between Chicago and Alicante again, I think he could be the one that slips into the top 6, because I can't imagine what it'd be like if he came like 10th or 11th. I think I'd be heartbroken. So I'm hopeful that what he's done by pulling out the Arnold and and going to ground and obviously just more time back in the gym and everything, I'm really optimistic that I think he could make 6th place here. So, and like I said, he's a guy that is potential to battle it out with Ramy, but I don't think that's going to happen. But I would like to see him. I'd like to see him, hold that top 6 placing.
Yeah, and I would love to see the same thing. I'm a huge Roli fan. We both saw him from amateur. We saw him win the Arnold Amateur years ago, turn pro. Yep. If he places as badly as 10th or 11th, if that happens, I don't think we're ever going to see him on stage again. I think that'll be it for him. I think he might just wrap it up. And he's had a great run. Regardless of what happens at this show, he's won a lot of contests. He's one of the greatest of his generation. So, but I do hope we get to see that great Roli one more time. Hassan Mostafa. This is his 28th show of the year.
The week.
It's got to be like his 8th show. It has to be.
It's the 8th, yeah, 8th.
Wow, I think. That's a lot of contests. And, to his credit, it's not like he's been fading miserably from show to show. I've seen some people just sort of self-destruct as the weeks went on and look worse and worse. He's held it pretty consistently. We just still have yet to see his 100%. I don't know if we're going to see for this Olympia. I hope he doesn't do any post-Olympia shows. I bet he will, though. Because, man, God, it's been a long year, Hassan. He just needs a break. He's probably one of the most genetically gifted human beings that's ever lived. He just needs I think he needs a break. I think he needs to just reset. But we got one more show, the big one. He's not going to skip the Olympia. I just don't know what he can possibly do to remedy what his body must be going through at this point, being on prep all these months, all the traveling, all the training. I wish him the very best. I think he's a great guy, family man, humble, but I don't know. what he's going to be able to pull off in his 8th show of the season here.
He's definitely got some alien DNA, because if you can do 8 shows and grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger, it's like, I don't understand how that can happen. So I'm not expecting him to make an impact here, you know, because realistically, this guy is a top 6 Olympia guy all day long. Yeah. But I just think with the fact that he's done that many shows, and he did the Arnold Classic, you know, a week ago, whatever, 2 weeks ago, yeah. I think he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna pull it out the bag for this one. I've kind of got him in the 12th to 15th range, which is a shame. But at the end of the day, he's made it to the Olympia now. So whatever he does now, he will do better next year. I guarantee it. But I'd love to see him. I'd just love to see him for next year. It's like get a win and then just have a lot of time off and then just show up at the Olympia, you know, shock everyone like Ramy did last year, and get like a top 6 Olympia or something. But I think he is a guy that really, I mean, what a testament to this guy's his strength of will. You know, he just kept going and going and going. It's like, what is it with these Egyptians? Like Mohamed, you know, Mohamed Elman. I mean, these guys have done 6, 7, 8 shows, and they're just like relentless. And I've got so much respect for that. And I love Hassan's physique. I just think it's such a unique looking physique. You know, like the way that Paul Dillette used to stand out in the pros. It just like this, they just look different. You know. Yeah. So, he's. I mean, the Arnold Classic. Apart from the condition, I was blown away by the amount of muscle hanging off his frame. Yeah.
It's funny because a lot of the old timers like to say, well, back in the old days, if you saw someone's silhouette or you saw them walking down the beach from a half a mile away, you knew who it was. These guys now, they're all cookie cutters. They're all look like clones. No, Hassan, if you saw Hassan's silhouette, you know, coming on stage backlit, you'd know that was Hassan Mostafa. The legs would give it away. I think he's got the biggest legs in the world right now, bigger than Ramy's maybe. They're unbelievable. They shake from side to side when he walks. They're that big. Last young guy we'll talk about, one of the prides of Canada. Canada's doing pretty well. Regan Grimes, we haven't seen since he qualified last year he won the Romania Muscle Fest last year. He's only about 27 or 28 years old. Another young guy, beautiful shape. Don't know what he's looking like right now, and don't know where he's going to fit into this. This is like land of the giants this year at the Olympia. My goodness, this is crazy. Yeah, I mean, have you seen how Regan's looking lately at all?
Well, I saw some pictures, some recent pictures, and they put them next to the Olympia pictures of last year, and it looked dramatic, but you don't know what it's like under the light. I just want to see him improve that he was last year, because for me, I hate to say it, he's not an Olympia caliber competitor yet. Yeah. But I think he in time he will be and could be. Yeah. I think he's not in my conversation for the top 10, even shredded. I don't think he's got that kind of thickness and density, and you know, but he's extremely popular. And I want to see. I just want to see him improve. I'd just be happy to see him improve and see him in condition. And I want to see kind of what we see on social media. You know, that kind of that impressiveness. You know, because for me, his physique doesn't always translate to the Olympia. To the pros, to the stage. To the lighting. But you know, he's had a full year now. So let's see what he's done, and let's see what's happened. And let's see if he can, he can really kind of, because there's a guy that could surprise, you know, because he's got nice symmetry. He's not lacking anything. Nope. It's just that kind of conditioning and sort of and sort of the overall look. Yeah, I mean, he's someone who had what Milos called baby muscle. Yeah. But when it comes together, he's gonna be sensational. He's really, I mean, he's winning pro shows now, so he's got nothing to worry about. And he's, he's been around for a few years, and he's about 28. You know, 28, 29. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Incredible. It's a great place to be in where he is, you know, so he doesn't even have to come and not make top 10 and it be a disaster. It can always be, it's a step forward for him, you know? Yeah. Now, this is last but not least, and we're only talking about every man in the Mr. Olympia lineup because that's the premier event. So this is from Italy. He's from Italy, Andrea Presti. You've had him on Global. I got him on Ronline a couple weeks ago. Cool dude, you know, very hardworking. He's got that attitude. He knows he's probably not going to place highly. He knows this. He's very happy, very proud to be there. The first Italian citizen in the Mr. Olympia since Mauro Sarni. Sarni? Am I getting it right? Yeah, back in like 1993, because I don't want to mix it up with his coach, Mauro Sassi, right? Yeah, I always do that sometimes. I get them mixed up. Yeah, because if this is going out Wednesday morning, we've got Global Muscle, and I've got Mauro and Andrea Presti in that one. Okay. And they've got no expectations that he's going to be like first call out here. But I predict he'll be one of the best conditioned guys in the Mr. Olympia. And he's obviously just so excited and so honored to kind of be in the Mr. Olympia. But he is a guy that you want to watch out in a couple of years because, you know, if any guys slip on their conditioning, he will overtake them. You know, he is not going to look out of place here. You know, he won Portugal. He beat Tim Buddersheim and Vlad and the other guys. And, you know, he's a serious competitor. And the thing is, he's not small either. He's about 122 kilo on stage. So he's like 260.
Wow.
And he's got his shoulder to waist is sensational. He's got a tight waist. You know, he said what did he do? He did 28 sets for hamstrings yesterday or something the day before. This was about 4 days ago. He says, yeah, I just done 28 sets for hamstrings. And I was like, wow. Okay. So, so I think he's just, he is kind of one of those happy to be here guys, but he is going to bring really, really impressive conditioning.
Okay, let's move on to the 212 division. Will Bob Ciccarello say this at the end of that, of the awards? And still your 212 Olympia champion, Shaun, the Giant Killer Clarida. That's my Bob. Does that sound like Bob? But yeah, Shaun was phenomenal last year. So much muscle packed on that frame, such crazy, gnarly condition. You know, he had some very tough competition with Kamal, George, Derek, but man, Clarida was just unbeatable last year. He was undeniable. He's had a full year to prep for this. I'm sure he's a former John Meadows client. I'm sure he's going to dedicate something to John with his routine, probably. But man, Shaun Clarida, he's the reigning champ, and he's got to be the favorite to repeat. He has to be.
In 2015, he was on stage at the Mr. Olympia, the 212 Olympia, 155 pounds. On like, was he 5'1", 5'2", something like that?
Yeah.
Last year's Olympia when he won, he was 177 pounds. And if you work out per pound per square inch, he's kind of like Ronnie Coleman size.
Yeah.
You know, if you say 10 pounds per inch,
right,
you work it out, he is literally that level of like muscle kind of thickness. He's kind of like a hybrid between Flex Wheeler and Ronnie Coleman, but on a kind of small frame, you know? He said he's going to be 8 pounds heavier. Now, he said he was going to be 10 pounds heavier last year when he ended up being about 5. Yeah. So even if he's around 180, 181 in the same kind of condition, it's game over. There's no one that can touch him. I think he's just one of these guys that 12 months of the year, this guy works hard. I mean, he shows it all the time. And I've never seen kind of like it's good likening him to a Ronnie Coleman, because like when Ronnie Coleman, he was like just a machine all year round, you know? And I think he's going to take a second win, but I do think he's going to have a very tough competition from a couple of guys. Yeah,
well, obviously we're going to talk about them. Before Kamal, we got to talk about Derek Lunsford, because Derek, the question is, how does Derek Lunsford at this point get down to 212 pounds? And I don't doubt that he will. Hani Rambod's his coach. Hani will make sure he makes weight. It's just, man, so much thick, dense muscle. He's one of the few in this lineup that can really stand next to Clarida and match him on pure sheer size and thickness. Just like, wow, that is a big kid. So Derek, you know, peaking has been his problem. He's had issues the past few years with the final week, but he's got Hani on Hani's very, very good at peaking athletes. We know this. He did it so many times with Phil Heath and many others. This could very well be by far the best Derek Lunsford we've ever seen. And if so, he's going to give Clarida a hard time.
100%. Even last year when he was off, let's face it, he took 4th. When he hits that frontal bicep, he's like, whereas Shaun Clarida's quite narrow, like a Phil Heath kind of like, you know, like thick round muscle, so you kind of don't look at the kind of shoulder to waist difference. You know, Derek Lunsford, when he opens up, I mean, he looks sensational. And have you seen what he's done to his legs in the last year? I mean, I hope they just don't disappear when he sucks it down to 212. I hope they stay, because before, when he, you know, it'd be like, oh, he's a bit, when he diets right down to 212, he does come a bit top heavy. Yeah. But this year I've seen, like, I saw that guest posing, and when he does that, there's a bicep pose when he leans back, and you see the depth of his legs. It's like Tom Platz. Yeah. I mean, but he said to me on Global Muscle a few weeks ago, he said that originally he was for this year, he was prepping as an open.
Wow.
Yeah, he said, no, he said, I was prepping as an open. He said, then basically Hani Rambod and me kind of teamed up, and Hani says, no, don't worry. I will get you down to 212. So this is what we're working towards. And yeah, so I'm really, I've got a funny feeling. I mean, the magic started happening between him and Hani within a couple of weeks. There was posting stuff, and because he posts quite a lot, and I was seeing different things in his physique that I'd never seen before. And he seems, I spoke to him. I said, "So what weight are you?" And he wouldn't tell me. He wouldn't divulge. But I think he said he's coming down nice and steady. He said, Hani, he seemed quite relaxed. I was looking at his eyes, trying to see a bit of a poker face, but he was very, he said, no, Hani said, I'll bring you down to 212. Don't worry. So I 100% we will see the best Derek Lunsford we've ever seen this year.
Yeah. And you know what? You just touched on something that's significant. A lot of people won't even realize this makes such a difference, but being relaxed versus being completely stressed out, which I always got that impression from him at the show at the Olympia the last couple of years. Not like freaking out, like panic mode or anything, but you could tell he was putting so much pressure on himself, not relaxed at all. And I'm sure the cortisol was flooding through his bloodstream. So that can make a huge difference, because condition comes down to the tiniest little factors, and a little water retention can do it, which is what we've seen from the past.
Well, I heard he was kind of like panic eating backstage. A couple of people said they saw him eating stuff because obviously he was flattening out, and maybe he was thinking, shit, I need to get some, yeah, I think, also he's like his fiance now is living with him, and they've got a nice house, and he seems focused, relaxed, happy, calm. And, Hani will be with him every step of the way. And like you said, you've competed, I've competed. It does make a difference when you've got that kind of support system there with you, and it's people that know and say, look, no, you're fine. Don't worry. You're looking good. Just stay on target, sort of thing, So I think he's going to push Clarida this year. I really do.
Now we have the 2019 212 Olympia champion from the United Kingdom by way of Libya, Kamal Elgargni. Yeah, you've known of Kamal for many, many years. You've watched him as an amateur before he came over to the IFBB Pro League. He's bigger than ever. Has he been in Vegas this whole time for quite a while, it seems?
Do you know what? He's kind of gone quiet on me the last few weeks. I think he's been out somewhere prepping, and I think he's just not answering his phone. Normally he's really good. And I saw a video he posted the other day, and he looked exhausted. I mean, he's really... because he's got like 4 kids and lots of businesses. And I think he's one of these guys that just needed to get away and really kind of focus. And someone was paying him to like basically prep at their gym or whatever. And I think he just needed to get away. So basically, I don't have much to report on Kamal. I don't know how, normally I know how he's looking. I speak to him frequently, but he's really gone quiet. He's really gone quiet the last few weeks. So I don't have a clue of how he's going to look or how he's going to do. But I know he's a freaking hardworking guy, and he wants to go on for another 3 years. He's 51 now?
Is he that old? No, he's not that old.
He's 50, 51. Yeah,
he's really? Okay.
He's 40. No, he's 46 in 2018. So he must be 49, 50 now.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
But he said,
yeah, it's nobody beats him on symmetry, condition. It's just a size thing. He has put on more size. It's just next to Clarida and Derek, it's going to be tough, because those are they're massive. They're probably the 2 most massive 212 competitors alive right now. Well, let's move on to the first Olympia appearance in the 212 division for Keone Pearson. Keone did not participate last year. He's going through some little mental issues, like a lot of us do. And he's had a full year. He did requalify with a win. Was it Chicago? He won Chicago again, right?
Yeah, he beat Wadani.
I was there. I should remember. But yeah, I mean, this is a guy, it's all going to come down to condition, because he's very, very reminiscent of Flex Wheeler with the shape, the structure, bicep peaks, quad sweep, lat drop, beautiful physique on him. It's just he's going to need a next level, a level of condition we've yet to see from him if he's going to push these guys we've just been speaking about.
I just hope if he does get the condition, he still manages to retain that fullness and roundness and lines, because you've seen guys that they look great when they're full and round and bubbly and everything, but then they get that extra bit of condition and they kind of lose that magic, like Akim a couple of weeks ago at the Arnold Classic. He wasn't really, it was like the ratio wasn't right of fullness to hardness. Now, I'll be honest, I've spoke to a lot of people on Globe Muscle this year, and I can't think of a single person that I've asked about the 212 Olympia that doesn't think he won't be in the top 3. But you think about, you've got Clarida, you've got Lunsford, you've got Kamal, you've got George Peterson. I mean, it's going to be a real, and he's going to have to bring something he's never brought before. But I tell you what, I mean, I've not seen him yet on stage personally. No one's seen him yet in really stellar conditioning. So there's a lot of question marks over this guy. So if he can bring the conditioning, if he keeps that fullness, then then maybe he could be a top 3 guy. But I mean, there's, people are sort of almost like sort of saying this guy's going to be an Olympia champion in the next year or two. But, there's a lot of good guys he's got to get past and he's got to prove himself against. If he wants to really be a force or be a top 3 this year or be in a discussion for, being an Olympia champion in the next couple of years. But he is incredible. And I am very much looking forward to seeing what he's bringing.
Well, I hope he wins, only because he wouldn't do any interviews before the show, but he said, Ron, you get the first interview after I win. So I need him to win. He has to win or I don't get an interview. So you've rated highly. Lucas Coelho, I believe he's from Brazil. So he either won in Portugal or Spain, one of the shows recently. Portugal. Very impressed. I'd never heard of him before, but massive, just very thick, dense, grainy, vascular. That's a bodybuilder's bodybuilder, just jacked. Yeah. I don't know how that's going to translate into this lineup with these guys who maybe have better structure and aesthetics, but we'll see. I think he's gonna be a force. He'll get a good call out. He'll get a good look.
He'll be. I wouldn't be surprised if he was first call out, to be honest. Okay. But I think second call out. I've got 5th to 8th, but I think he's going to be a real superstar in the 212 very fast. Because Portugal it was a good show, but it was, he needs to be, he needs to do an Olympia. He needs to do more shows. He needs to get maybe another couple of wins under his belt. But, here's a guy he's got that kind of it factor. He's got that something where you think, okay, this guy in a year's time, everyone could be raving about him. Whereas a lot of people are still finding out about him. But I saw him on his Instagram, like the last few weeks, and I had him in Hot News on Global Muscle. And I was just like, okay, this guy looks great, but he's going to lose this impressiveness as he gets close to the show. And as he got close to the show, he was getting more impressive. So, I'm very excited to see this new face, and I think he's going to rub out some really big names.
Speaking of big names, he's been second place at this show twice. He's won several shows from Kuwait, Ahmad Ashkanani. Now, people haven't really been talking a lot about Ahmad. I think it's because we have so much new talent. And I think anytime that happens, some of the more established guys tend to fade into the background because people are always about the next new thing. But, Ahmad's been very consistent. I've seen him look better and worse at different times, but he's always in that first call out. I don't think he's ever been below top 5 at this show.
Yeah, he's never been lower than 5th in the 212 Olympia.
So, it'd be kind of a surprise to me if he's not in top 5 again.
Well, it all comes down to the legs, doesn't it? If his legs aren't hard, then he could get knocked down to 8th to 10th. But he's what, 5'2", and he's just, his upper body it's like Angel Calderon. It's just next level thickness and muscle, and he's a freak. But it's like you said, if he's got to get his legs cut because that's his weak area. And if they're cut, then he's probably going to hold the top 5, top 6 position. But he really needs to. I'd like to see a bit of a different look because he always comes in so round and full. I maybe like to see a bit more, maybe suck him down a little bit, see a bit more detail, because I think we've seen the same Ahmad for a few years now.
I still want to see more quad sweep on him. I know that's mainly a genetic thing, but his back is so wide. It's like Lunsford. He's one of the only people who can stand next to Lunsford. Well, let's not forget George Peterson, of course, but Ahmad is short. He's 5'2", and he's got his shoulders and upper back are this wide. So that's when you have that, I want to see the legs match that. I want to see that X frame.
I'd like to see Ahmad next to Angel Calderon because for me, they're similar height, similar width, similar amount of muscle. But for me, Angel Calderon is streets ahead in terms of conditioning. Well,
that's our next guy, Angel Calderon from Spain. And man, he's got all kinds of victories behind him. It seems to me like he never really gets. I hate to say people get overlooked because that makes it sound like the judges aren't doing their job properly, but I think they're human beings and there's so many great physiques in front of them. It's very hard to equally give everyone comparisons and all that. So Angel Calderon is a guy we've seen a few times the Olympian, super impressed by. I think a knock on him was his legs weren't quite matching his upper body. Seems like he's brought those up from the Instagram pictures. Once again, we go with Instagram, but Angel Calderon, I think he might be a dark horse. He could be somebody who could be first call out, top 5 this year, even though very few people are talking about him.
Absolutely agree. Well, he was 10th place in 2019, and I put him in my column as like the kind of the talking point of the Olympia, like kind of Patrick Moore was the year before, where they don't necessarily have to win to be a talking point, where people go, shit, I didn't expect that, It was unexpected. Last year, he was 7th place, but he came into the last year's Olympia on 4 wins.
Wow.
That year, he won, I can't remember now, was it Spain, Alicante, British Grand Prix? But imagine coming into, I don't think that's ever been done. I think Flex Wheeler might have done it, 93. I think he won qualifying for the Olympia 4 times in 1 year,
Right.
like getting 4 wins. But you know what? The pictures I saw recently, my God, and he has been quiet until he posted these pictures recently because he didn't have any other shows to prep for this year. So he's coming in fresh. And I mean, to me, he's like a 212 Ramy with better condition. Did I say better conditioning?
You did. It's fine. It's fine. Yes.
No, honestly,
those pictures were up on the MD Noble forum, guys. There was a thread said Angel Calderon with improved legs, and it's the new shots. And wow, I'm impressed.
He's sensational. I think he's because I think he'll be. Yeah, I'd like to see him maybe 5th, 6th. I'd like to see him move up, even just 1 or 2 spots, because just for the pure freak factor of the man.
Yeah. Last 212 gentleman we're going to talk about, and he's very good. Ahmad Elwardani, also goes by El Sadani sometimes, I think. One's his Egyptian name, one's his regular. I don't know. Anyway, what do I know? He looks good. He's Ahmad, and he looks awesome. I saw him at 2 or 3 shows this season. Crazy shape. I love this guy's shape and symmetry. What a flow to his physique. I mean, condition could be a little bit better if he wants to push these guys that we spoke of in the top 5, but I think he's another one who very well could be first call up.
I love the guy and I've been supporting him all year, but he's not in my conversation for top 6. I think he's more sort of 7th, 8th, mark. I think he's a top 10 guy, but I just think he's and like I said, I was really happy when he eventually won in Chicago. No, not Chicago, the one after Tampa.
Tampa. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tampa. Yeah, and I mean, like, frontable bicep is absolutely sensational. It's so incredible. But I'd like to see better condition again, actually. Like structure, muscle, everything, shape, symmetry, the midsection. He's a joy to look at, Yeah.
All right, final division, guys. We're only going to talk about 3 because, good Lord, we've already been talking for an hour. It's a classic physique division. We have 2-time reigning champion. He's 26 years old from Canada. Chris Bumstead, C-Bum. I mean, we'll talk about a couple guys who have a legitimate chance of beating him, but he's definitely the heavy favorite to repeat. No, well, talk.
Sorry.
It's okay. You're already shaking your head, but talk to me. Chris Bumstead, can he get 3? Will he get 3?
Oh, 100%, 100%. Do you know what? He posted a readable bicep on his Instagram the other day, and for the first few seconds, I thought, oh, he's posting a video of somebody else. I thought that's weird, and it was him.
Yeah.
I mean, what he did from between 2019 and 2020 was just unbelievable. I think he's going to, I hate to say it, but I think it spoils the kind of fun of it, but I think he's going to be like a 6-time Olympia champion. I think he's going to be retired by the time he's 30 with 6 Olympias. I think he embodies the classic criteria so well, and he's so consistent. And he's, and in 2019, he had the kidney issue, so he was prepping with all these issues. 2020 had no issues, and he just came in and just absolutely blew everyone away. And I think he's going to do the same again this year. And the thing is, what is he still only 26?
26. He's 26. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm going to do a tour with him next year as well.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah. European tour with Olympia All-Star. So, we're in discussions now. But, I mean, God. And you know what? He's actually got more Instagram followers than the Olympia Instagram. 3.7 million.
It's, when I talk to a lot of young guys at the gym, guys in their 20s, some of them have never heard of Big Ramy, but they all know Chris Bumstead. Every single one of them. They all follow him. They watch his videos. Yeah, because they can relate.
I do. I think it's a fight for second, mate. I'm sorry to say that.
You know what? I mean, we're just making predictions, guys. Don't worry about us. Don't get your feathers ruffled if we didn't say you're going to win. But 2-time champ Brion Ansley dropped to 3rd last year. But boy, if Instagram translates to real life, he's looking deadly. I don't know if he can get his title back. I don't know. But I think he's going to push Ruffin. He's going to push Bumstead very hard this time, assuming he comes in full. Because last year I was like, he flattened out, didn't look the way I thought he was going to look. If he can stay full with this type of condition that I'm looking at right now on his social media, he's going to push hard. I don't know if he can overtake Bumstead, but he's going to make a lot of people proud.
I honestly, after last year, I almost kind of like not written him off, but I thought, okay, here's a guy that's probably starting to backslide a little bit. But you know what? The pictures and videos I've seen recently, he really has taken it. Do you know what? He's taken it back to that 2017 when he won the Olympia. He's taken it back to that level of conditioning. I remember when we were, me and Steve, watching the show, and like I just remember, like I said, his leg back, and even all that way back, you could see the fine detail in his hamstrings. He was skinned, and I think he's got that back this year. Because Chris Cormier said he says he's looking in shape now, and he's still got like 10 pounds to lose. And so basically he's really brought himself down so he doesn't struggle those last couple of weeks. So I think, which obviously sometimes when they they do that, they come on stage a bit flat, and then they try and eat up for the night show. Right. I think he's going to look probably the best he's ever been, and this is a guy who's won the classic Olympia a couple of times, Yeah. So I'm expecting it's going to be interesting between him and Terrence Ruffin for second.
Yeah, that's obviously, we have to talk about Terrence. Just won the Arnold Classic, second place last year to Chris Bumstead. So on paper, he's the one that we have to be talking about as far as pushing Bumstead for the title again. I was very impressed with the Arnold. I think he was saving a little bit for the Olympia. That's the impression that I got. I don't think he was 100% for the Arnold. From the back, he was. From the front, I saw a little room for improvement. He could have been a little bit drier and tighter. But boy, what a physique. And I think both you and Jose pointed out, he's grown. He's put on some mass over the past year, because when he started out in the division years back, he was a smaller guy. He was definitely one of the smaller guys in Classic. He's growing into his own. I think he's still in late 20s. I think he's still only 28, something like that, 29 maybe. If he might even be younger than that, I'm not sure. Forgive me, Terrence. But yeah, I mean, if he dials it in a little bit tighter, I think he's going to push Bumstead again.
I totally agree. But do you know what? 3 weeks out from the Arnold Classic, if you'd have said, what would you advise Terrence to do? I'd say pull out of the Arnold and just prep for the Olympia, because that's 5 weeks away, because he does look like even in 5 weeks, he's going to struggle. But he managed to pull off the Arnold, and I would have bet against you him winning the Arnold or even being in shape, but he did it by the skin of his teeth. And I was so happy when he won, because I was like, shit, mate, that was a close one, because he could have come in off and got fourth or fifth, and it would have completely ruined his mental state and everything for the Olympia. But he really, really cut it fine there. Took a gamble. It paid off. He won the Arnold Classic. And I think those extra 2 weeks and also the kind of positivity of having a big win like that, he's going to be, I think he's going to be at his best at the Olympia. But like you said, I was like you, I was like, even at the prejudging when I was watching the Arnold Classic, I was like, is he going to win this? But he did. He won it. So I expect to see the all-time best version of Terrence at the Olympia. And I'm really excited to see him and Brion go head to head.
So we have to talk about Alex Cambronero, because Alex was very much in the fight for that Arnold Classic win. It wasn't a dominating win by Terrence. Alex looked really, really good. He's been top 5 at this show twice now, I believe. He was 4th last year. So you have to have him in your conversation for the first call out. It's Jose's theory as to why he doesn't get talked about as much and isn't favored as much to win shows is because he's so complete and so balanced. Nothing jumps out at you. So and that's the way it's supposed to be. Nothing is supposed to stand out. You're supposed to be perfectly balanced, but he seems to think it works against him in some ways at times. I still think, he's going to be in that first call out. I don't see him dropping out of the top 5. He'll be battling and he's got Neil Hill dialing him in properly. I think Alex is going to be right up there again.
Totally agree. I think he'd probably be about 4th or 5th, 4th at best, 5th at worst. That's, because that he's going to be looking in the same condition he was at the Arnold Classic. And that was pretty much flawless condition, flawless symmetry, beautiful physique. He's one of those guys, like you said, he is kind of under the radar. He doesn't really jump out as much, but it's like he says, because he is I don't know, it's hard to explain, isn't it? But he is perfect classic, really. It was definitely a good move moving back from 212, wasn't it?
Yeah. So Robert Timms, he hasn't been on the Olympus stage for 3 years, and he wasn't doing well last time. He did start out strong. 2016, he was in the very first Classic Physique Olympia that Danny Hester won. He was 6th place that year, but he just kept dropping down, disappeared for a couple of years, built the size, showed up at this Texas Pro, which was supposed to be Logan Franklin's show to win. But no, Robert Timms blew that show away. Phenomenal upper body. He's got a back on par with a lot of these guys we're talking about, like George Peterson, Derek. Just crazy V-taper, thick, rugged back, arms, shoulders. He's got almost an open bodybuilding upper body. I still want to see more leg development. People will argue with me that classic guys shouldn't have these massive legs. They're supposed to be, they're supposed to be harkening back to the 70s when, guys didn't have these massive legs. It was more streamlined look. So I don't know what the judges are going to do with him at this Olympia. I haven't seen him I don't even remember him in 2018. I don't remember him after 2016, to be totally honest with you. I think he was just one of those like second or third call out guys I wasn't really paying attention to. but he's better than ever now. That's for sure. I think he's going to get a really good look. I just don't know where he's going to finish in the end.
If you'd have told me like a couple of weeks ago that he would be placing ahead of Lord Jones, I'd have said you're crazy. Yeah. But Lord, Brian Jones looked good at the Arnold, but it didn't really translate like I expected it to. I expected him to be in the contention for the win. But Robert Timms, I liked how he looked at Texas, and you were saying he could be like in top 3 for the Olympia, and I don't think top 3, but I think I'd be surprised if he wasn't top 6. I'd like to see him maybe 5th, 6th, and I think that'd be a good result for him, and he'd be back up where back where he was a few years back in 2016.
Sure. Yeah, because I mean, like I said, anytime somebody wins a show, people jump on the bandwagon there. Like I remember when he won that Texas, people were saying he's going to beat Bumstead. I'm like, come on, guys, come on. I mean, he's very good. But you're talking about him beating Chris Bumstead. I don't know. Stranger things have happened in this world of ours, but that I don't see that happening until he brings his legs up. That's my personal opinion. Brian Jones, we have to talk about, because I think he just dropped the ball by coming in a little bit off at that Arnold, and that's all it takes. You can be just 2%, 3% off your best and get overtaken because this level of competition. Now we're at the Olympia. Now you have a couple guys who weren't in the Arnold. We have Bumstead, we have Brion, we have Timms. It's going to be a very tough show. I still rate his physique very, very highly. I think he's got a fantastic combination of shape, structure, size, round muscle bellies. With him, he's going to have to bring that condition 100% the way he did for the Olympia last year.
Yeah, of course, because he was top 5 last year at the Olympia, wasn't he?
Yep, 5th place.
Phenomenal. Yeah, I just hope he peaks as good as he did at the Olympia last year, because I was a little bit disappointed when I saw him at the Arnold, because when he first walked out, I was like, he's going to win. And then when he started posing, I was like, oh, it's like, that's not what I expected. That's not what we've seen on Instagram. That's not what we saw at the Olympia last year. So I just want to, I hope this was just like this was how he would normally look at 2 weeks out from a show.
Yeah.
So I want to see him peaked at the Olympia, because I really want to see him next to Robert Timms, because I think that's going to be an interesting battle between them. And then you got the Brion and Terrence, and then you got King Bumstead.
King Bumstead. Reigning New York Pro Champion Danny Unin, who has been top 6 at this show twice, I believe. He's another one that doesn't. It's similar to Cambronero, where he's so balanced, so proportionate that nothing really jumps out at you. It's just a beautiful classic physique. But, people get hung up on big body parts or freaky condition or a big back, something. So a lot of times guys like this who are so well balanced, they don't get as much hype and they don't get talked about as much. But Danny's one of the best in the world. I think he's got a great shot of repeating top 6 again.
Very consistent, 6 to 8. But I mean, if he could hold that 6th place, then that's a 3-time. He's really holding his position at the Olympia, which is kind of where you want to fall in the rankings, really. Yeah. So I like his physique. I thought he looked great at the Arnold Classic as well. But if he can improve on that, then yeah, I could see him, like, if he's not first call out, he'll definitely be the top of the second call out.
Last but not least, all the way from the Netherlands, you know who I'm talking about. Look at that voice. Wesley Vissers. He's got a radio announcer voice. He's got a movie star looks. He's what, 7'2"? How tall is he?
18'3".
No, he's about 6'3", isn't he?
Yeah, he's I've stood next to him and he towers over me. I'm 6'1", so he's like 6'3", I think 6'3". Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, he just qualified it. Wasn't Portugal. Where was it?
Poland. He got third at Portugal, and then he got when he looked amazing as well, and then he won in Poland.
Yeah, so he's been a work in progress. He's someone that I think we've seen his potential for a couple of years now. You were there. He only turned pro, I think, with 2018 at the British Grand Prix show, or what was that show?
Yeah, Royal London Pro in March 2018 in London.
Okay, so he's still a young guy. He's still in his 20s as well. With him, I wanted to see more leg development. I do see a little more. I don't know if it's going to be enough. This is a hell of a lineup, but he's somebody that I've often felt was his destiny is to be at the very top of the Olympia. I don't know if he's going to win it or not, maybe eventually, but I think he's good enough to be one of the very top men. And if you think, this has been disproven already, when Bumstead was the second time Bumstead won, people were saying, well, they want to see tall, wide men. They don't want to see the shorter guys anymore, the Brions and the Terrences. But it's anybody's show. It's not how tall you are. It's nothing like that. It's a classic physique show. Wesley Vissers, definitely one of the greatest class physiques out there today.
He's awesome. And the thing is, we were so frustrated. Apart from that 2019 Romania when he nailed his condition, like he really was a bit like wishy-washy with he was very, very off with his condition. He was very hit and miss. And then Portugal and Poland this year, his conditioning was spectacular. you know, and like you said, his legs are up, the separation was clean and like almost like Bonac level, like slice, you know, muscle separation in the quads and, you know, in the arms, everything in the back, everything was just like really, it's like, you know, because it's great to see the big guys, but when they're really crisply separated, it's something to see, you know. Yeah. So I'd like to see him next to another big guy like Robert Timms and Brian Jones. They're I wouldn't, you know, the tall, big, wide, classic guys, you know. Then see how they compare, because I'd like to see him next to Robert Timms for some reason. I just want to see the two, you know, how he compares, you know, with somebody else of his dimensions. Yeah, and I think you nailed it. I think they're probably about. Robert's probably not. I don't think Robert's as tall, but they have some things in common for sure. They would be a great matchup. Yeah, you always have your dream callouts, which you know, I want to see so and so with so and so, and sometimes we don't see them. Sometimes it never happens in the judging, unfortunately. You know, if it was up to Milos, everybody would be compared to everybody multiple times. Judging would take. Still being called out. Guys, these shows go so long. It takes 2 days and 2 nights to get through all 10 divisions of this show, and that's what I want to bring up. I'll leave it with that. Is Muscular Development is, of course, doing full coverage of Olympia from Orlando. Our team will be on the ground, me, Hector, Milo Sarsha, Big Mike Cox. I said Hector, yeah. So unfortunately, we don't have a Giles. What can you do? We don't have a Batman. But we're going to be doing play-by-play starting Friday morning. Oh, man, I should have all the times ready, right? Yeah, look at that sophistication. Look at that technology. Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern, we're going to start off judging for fitness, 212, figure, women's physique, Ms. Olympia, and wellness. Finals will be 7 p.m. that night for all those divisions, then judging for the Mr. Olympia Friday night. Saturday, another big day and night, 9 a.m. It starts off with classic physique, men's physique, bikini, and then wellness and wheelchair finals. Wheelchair, Harold Kelly, King Kong Kelly, most likely going to have his fourth Olympia title, something like that. And then, of course, finals, 7 p.m. for the Mr. Olympia, men's physique, bikini, and classic. And 11 p.m., the Victory Gala, sponsored by Muscle Vodka. I think I might check that out. And then Sunday morning, the seminar with everybody. So it's going to be a great weekend. MuscularDevelopment.com on the Noble Forums. We'll have a play-by-play thread. If we're lucky enough, Giles might contribute to that. Yeah. Okay, great. And we'll be doing as many interviews as possible. Thursday's a press conference. I'll be in an airplane. So Mike Cox and Milo Sarshev are going to be there and watch that, do a little wrap up. Thursday night, we have all the Meet the Olympians, where they have to sign autographs and sell pictures. And that's where I steal a lot of great interviews at that. So big weekend coming up, guys. This is our Super Bowl. I'm pretty damn psyched. If you're a bodybuilding fan, you have to be very excited about the Olympia, regardless of where it is geographically, when it is in the year. Although it's good to have it back in the October in this part of I wasn't feeling having it like at almost Christmas last year. That was a little, but anyway, that's it. So Giles Tiger Thomas, thank you for your time, for your insights, your opinions, your proper British accent. Or is it Welsh? It's hard to say. Well, sort of. You don't sound like Flex Lewis when you talk. I know. Well, I'm right on the border, so I don't really. A few miles in, they all sound like Flex, but I'm right on the border, so I sound kind of like weird posh accent. Yeah, you do. You really do sound posh. She's the best looking of the Spice Girls, by the way. Posh Spice. Just my opinion. Why do you think David Beckham married her? Anyway, so that's all, guys. Check out all our coverage. We have plenty more stuff on this YouTube channel. Check out MD Global Muscle happening. Well, if you're watching this, you should have already watched Global Muscle with a full lineup of awesome Olympian competitors. And if you didn't, go back and watch it now. Great show. I love Global Muscle. And that's it. Thanks, guys. And we'll see you next time.
Hi everyone, my name is Lauren Lotta from the Buff Bombshell Show. You are watching the Olympia preview from MD. You've already seen Giles Thomas and Ron Harris do the guys, so I'm going to do the ladies and give you my top 5 predictions from each category. So let's get into it, and I hope you enjoy. So we're going to kick it off with women's bodybuilding, the Miss Olympia, which started in 1980. And I'm just going to show you my top 5, no particular order. And I'm going to start off with Andrea Shaw, Miss Pretty Muscle on Instagram. Andrea won the 2020 Miss Olympia after having it not been on stage for 5 years since 2014, with Iris Kyle having won 2014 the last time, 10 times Miss Olympia winner, bodybuilding category. So I'm expecting Andrea to make top 5 again, if not maybe possibly win it, because she looks stunning and she just represents the category in such a beautiful way. She's still quite young. She still has room to grow in the sport. She has a beautiful physique, great muscle shape, and she has a great face for bodybuilding too. So Andrea, if you're watching, good luck, and very nice car. So good luck to you. And then on to my next lady, which is Mayla Ash. Mayla Ash actually swapped from women's physique last year, and she went into women's bodybuilding. Again, a beautiful shape, beautiful face. I absolutely love Mayla's look. She has muscle in all of the right places, and I'm definitely expecting Mayla to be in this top 5 because she just has her look nailed down from the hair all the way down to her feet, and I'm very excited to see you step on stage again. So this is Mayla backstage at a previous show, Rising Phoenix World Championship, and you know, one stunning lady. So good luck to you, Mayla, if you are watching this too. And then on to Hel Trevino, which is a 2-time world champion, I think Rising Phoenix, coached by Charles Glass. Again, Hel is one of the sort of top contenders for the title of 2021. And again, just incredible structure, great physique. I mean, she has so much muscle mass. I don't know how these women actually do it. Let's just put it that way. But they are absolutely looking incredible. And they're really representing their sport at the moment in such a great way. So that is Hel Trevino, you guys. And that is her working out for the Olympia. So good luck to you, Hel, if you are busy watching this too. And then on to my next lady, which is Margie Martin. Now, I can't actually find Margie's page. So I found a fan page. And Margie, good luck to you as well. I really enjoyed your routine from last year. I thought it was the most creative out of all of the ladies on the bodybuilding stage. But again, just can't find your Instagram page. So please let us know what that is. And I won't have to rely on the fan page. But if you guys are watching this, maybe go give that a follow if you like Margie a lot. And good luck to you. So next I'm going to be moving on to fitness. And for those of you that didn't know, fitness actually started in 1995. And it was first won by a lady called Mia Finnegan. And this is its 26th year in the Olympia, so pretty amazing there too. But in my top 5 for this year, I'm going to go with the one and only Missy Triscott, because Missy has just won the Arnold's 21 and she won Olympia 2020. She is a force to be reckoned with. She has an incredible physique for fitness. She could very easily swap over to figure, or at least do both categories if she wanted to. And her routines always show probably one of the most highest levels of difficulty I've ever seen in the fitness round, which is why I would place Missy in the top spot again, just because of that level of difficulty with regards to her routine as well as her physique. So Missy, if you're watching, good luck to you, and absolutely cannot wait to see what costume you come up with next, because absolutely outstanding. And again, another woman that's just polished from head to toe when she steps out on stage. And then in my number 2 spot, which probably shouldn't say number 1 or 2, but in number 2, I am going to go with Ariel, because she also placed second at Arnold's this year. Ariel has just come such a long way since last year in terms of her actual physique. She's really worked on it. She's developed, she's improved. She's just put on what I would say a considerable amount of muscle mass, and she just looks incredible. Like, she's really stepped it up this level, stepped it up this year to another level for her physique. And again, Ariel is one of these ladies that comes from a gymnastics background. She knows what tricks she can do with her body. She's always working on them. And again, her level of difficulty is always up there. But I do believe that with her physique having taken it to the next level this year, she's going to now, well, I would suggest that she would place a little bit higher. And she just looks absolutely great. So I cannot wait to see what routine Ariel comes up with, because again, I just feel like you've improved so much. And in 1 year, you've just made such great changes. So good luck to you, and good luck. And then on to, okay, my favorite fitness lady of all time is Oksana Grishina, 4 times Miss Olympia winner, I think 14, 15, 16, and 17. And she just comes up with the most beautiful artistic routines you've ever seen. She's got an amazing amount of musicality. She just knows how to work the music, and she knows how to be able to use every single movement within the music so that she can create a performance instead of just a routine. And I think that's what I love most about Oksana's overall kind of routine. She is just a performer at heart. And here she is as the joke at the Arnold's 2020. And again, just cannot wait to see what routine Oksana comes up with, because they are always the most creative. I don't know if Oksana would necessarily win. I don't know, but you never know what's going to happen. And she just takes it to another level with her outfits and her costumes. And that does play a huge role and an amazing part of her performance. So good luck to you, Oksana. You always give it 100% no matter what you do. And yeah, you're my fitness favorite forever. So sorry, everyone else. But yes, Oksana is just beautiful. And then on to my next lady, which is Minna Pohati from Finland. Now, Minna has been really consistent this year within fitness. Again, she's been trying to bring more of an artistic element into her routines this year, whereas last year they were more tricks based and I'd say more gymnastics based, but she's just gone up another level with them as well as with her costumes. So I'm really looking forward to Minna stepping up on stage. I do definitely feel like she would make top 5, and physique wise, she's got it there as well. And she's definitely one of the more muscular ladies on stage, but to me, she just looks fantastic, and fitness is definitely Minna's category for sure because she can play to her strengths there. And then on to my next lady, which is Whitney Jones. Now, Whitney Jones is a 2-time Miss Olympia from, I think, 18 and 19. So, Whitney, I want to see you on stage because you always have the most energetic routines. And I would say that I don't know how you do it, again, because you just seem to move and you don't stop. So, good luck to you, Whitney. Again, incredible shape, incredible structure. And this will be your 9th Olympia. So that is pretty incredible that you've been on here for almost a decade. And, you've had injuries, but you're still persevering through it all. And you're really inspiring. That's what I'm trying to say. So good luck to you, Whitney, for taking part at this year's Olympia. We missed you at the Arnold's due to your positive COVID result, but I'm hoping that you'll be here and ready to go for Olympia. Now I'm going to head straight into figure, and figure started in 2003 from what I believe, and Sydney Gillen is definitely going to be in that top 5, having won 17, 18, 19 and 20 Olympia. She is definitely the favorite for the win. She just has a structure like no one else for this figure category with that really tiny waist. She is very consistent with what she does, and I don't think she actually competes in as many shows or as many pro shows throughout the year. So she saves it all up for the Olympia and then she just goes for it. So this is Sydney busy working out, and it looks exhausting, but good luck to you, Sydney. I'm sure you'll look great on stage having done all those pop squats and stuff. But again, congratulations to Sydney. Also got married last year and she's just been living life. So good luck to Sydney for the figure category. And then I also want to put Zenobia into my top 5 because, again, a stunning shape on this woman. And again, she's just absolutely beautiful, really tiny waist, gorgeous face, top to bottom, just absolutely polished. And I just feel like she has a great figure look for this category. So Zenobia, if you're watching, good luck to you. And then I have to put in Bojana Vasiljevic into that top 5 category because, again, so stunning. I say to myself, like, Bojana is like that lady. She's like the Barbie doll I've never had, the Little Mermaid kind of body, but she's just beautiful. So I really want to see Bojana in that top 5. Again, just gorgeous. Blows my mind every single time. She really knows how to, work the Instagram, work the camera, and she's just got such a gorgeous shape. So Bojana, I am very excited to see you on stage this year and for you to perfect your routine and show everyone what you've been working on for this year. And then in that next top 5 is Jessica Reyes Padilla. Jessica Reyes Padilla is definitely somebody that I am quite new to, but again, a wonderful physique, somebody who myself and Giles personally think could swap into women's physique sometimes because she is a little bit on the more muscular side. And, oh, that's a nice photo. I think that's slightly older, but Jessica definitely has muscle in all of the right places for figure, and she definitely stands out for all of the right reasons. But look at that shoulder width. My gosh, she's just stunning. But yes, to Jessica, good luck if you are busy watching this, and absolutely phenomenal. And then I have to also give it in to a top 6, which I want to see Rhea Gale from the UK improve. This will be her 3rd Olympia. So she'll be a 3-time Olympian in 2021. And again, just somebody who has improved year on year. She's a really hard worker. And I would really like to see her come in a few more placings and either make top 5 or make it in the top 6. So good luck to you, Rhea. Your posing is always beautiful. You've worked so hard, and I cannot wait to see you on stage 2. And then a top 6, or the 5 for top 6, I'm also going to give a quick shout out to Nadia Wyatt. Nadia Wyatt, I do believe, placed top 5 last year. So she's definitely going to be battling it out to get her placing back. But again, somebody who just has a gorgeous structure, very tiny waist, great X frame, works so hard throughout the year. So she's again bringing it back for the Olympia in 2021. So good luck to you, Nadia Wyatt. And then I'm going to go on to women's physique, and I'm going to start off with Sarah Villegas, the current reigning Miss 2020 Olympia champion. And Sarah, again, wow. Always brings in the crazy condition and just looks great on stage. So to you, Sarah, good luck. And maybe it will be your next Olympia win. I don't know. Let us know what you guys think. And then on to IFBB Pro Natalia Coelho, who also sometimes does a little bit of guest talking for MD. And Natalia will be taking part in the Olympia 21. She's been very quiet about it. So good luck to Natalia. I want to see you on stage, and MD and everyone supports you over here. And I do think that you will make top 5. And you're always quite consistent. So consistent and beautiful, and go and do your thing and just go and rock that stage. So good luck, Natalia. And then I do think that Barbara Menage from France will also make top 5. She did last year. Again, very hard-working lady, very consistent. Not somebody that I see on the pro stages too often, but when she does get on stage, she always brings in the condition and just the look that they want. So she's also the only lady on stage without hair, and she makes it work. So Barbara, good luck to you. You work really hard, and you got a great physique, and you just do your own thing. So good luck to Barbara doing the Olympia 2021. Look at that back. Wow. Back is back. And then on to Anne Munn, IFBB Pro. Again, a women's physique competitor. Super gorgeous. Did we see her at Alicante? So she won at Alicante. And my goodness, those are some large shoulders. So you guys, Anne Munn, good luck to you. Competing at the Olympia. Again, crazy condition that you're bringing in. Incredible. And just wishing you all of the best. And then I'm going to take it into bikini, because bikini started in 2010. And now there's about 34 competitors who are taking to the stage this year, so slightly fewer than last year. But the big news about bikini is that Angelica Teixeira is having a baby, so she's technically qualified, but she won't be competing. Janet Lejerg, Miss 2020 Olympia, is retired, so she's no longer competing. And Attila Santiago is now judging, so she's no longer competing either. And these ladies were all in the top 5 last year, which means that there are placings which can now be taken by other bikini ladies. So the first lady, without a doubt, that I believe will be in top 5 is Jennifer Dory. She came second at the Olympia to Janet Lejerg last year, and she took the Arnold's title for 21. And some people believe that the Arnold's is a bit of a prediction for what might win. So if that is true, then Jennifer might win the Olympia. But again, somebody who just has the beautiful bikini shape. She works really hard, and she's been working really hard this year. I believe she's with Fit Body Fusion now, and she's just been going. She's slightly one of the more curvier bikini athletes that we see, but I think that she will be working very hard to try and win that title, because she's very close. So good luck, Jennifer. And then without a doubt, top 5 as well, Laura Lee Chapatis, who just blew everyone away this year with her glutes and with her glute workouts. Good luck to you, Laura Lee. 5th last year, 2nd, I believe, in 2019. 2019 or 2018. And, you know, you're coming back this year. You've worked incredibly hard. You've made some considerable gains for bikini. One of the more muscular athletes for bikini and one of the taller athletes, but definitely somebody to watch out for within this top 5. And then my next top 5 lady for bikini is definitely Isa Pacini, who came 6th last year at the Olympia. She came 1st in 2019. So she dropped down a couple of places. And will she make it back into that top 5? I definitely think so. She's worked so hard again. She has been fighting for her place. She's been doing pro shows. She's won a couple this year. And she came 2nd. Did she come 2nd at Arnold's? But she looked absolutely great. She's like, the old Isa is back and she's better than ever. So you guys better watch out for Isa because she is definitely bringing her best. And then without a doubt, top 5, Ashley Kaltwasser, 3 times Miss Olympia, handstand extraordinaire, and bikini OG. So definitely Ashley Kaltwasser, again, worked so hard since coming back onto the stage since 2018. Just looking incredible again. And, you know, she's definitely trying to pick up another Olympia title. So good luck to you, Ashley. And hopefully this is your 4th win. And if not, then keep on going because, you know, you are Miss Olympia. So have that ready for you. And then on to my last lady, which is Daraja Hill. Daraja Hill is somebody who has a very similar structure and shape to that of Isa Pacini. To me, she is just beautiful. She has been climbing the ranks within the IFBB Pro League this year. She's won her shows. She just looks great. She's got great balance from top to bottom, good waist to hip ratio. And I just think that she has just a great shape for bikini. And she's definitely that dark horse that could get into top 5 this year because I do think it's her time. So good luck to you, Daraja. And then I also need to give a special mention to Erin Stern, 2 times Miss Olympia winner in figure. Erin actually earned her pro card in bikini quite recently, and she won her first pro show recently too, which qualified her for her first ever bikini Olympia in 21. So good luck to you, Erin. I'm really glad to see you back and doing your thing, and switching categories seems to have worked for you so well. So good luck. And if not top 5, then definitely top 10 for me, but good luck. And now I'm going to go on to wellness, which is probably one of the biggest hypes of the year because wellness is, well, it's the first time that it's on stage, and there are 24 qualified athletes, but unfortunately 4 of them cannot come to the USA. I was going to say the UK, to the USA because of visa issues. That includes Giselle Jujubifit, Charlene Mass, and another lady. So some of the ladies unfortunately can't make it, but in this top 5 for me at this moment in time, I'm going to go with Francielle Matas, one of the sort of original wellness ladies that made it onto the scene. She, again, is somebody who is so polished from head to toe. She's busy advertising Olympia there. And again, just has great shape and structure for the wellness look. So she's definitely going to be bringing her best to the stage. And this is Francielle with Jim Mannion. And she's busy doing her posing routine. So absolutely gorgeous. Good luck to you, Francielle. And then another lady within top 5 for me is Isa Pereira Nunes. And again, actually one of the first ladies that I ever saw in wellness that made me go, wow, wellness is an amazing thing. This was about 2 years ago. And Isa was one of the first ladies that I actually saw in the wellness category and just thought, like, this is huge. So good luck to you, Isa. Really working the glutes there. Again, somebody who's just absolutely beautiful. Okay, maybe not that shot. But she is, again, polished from head to toe, just beautiful, and definitely within my top 5. And then I'm also going to go with Dr. Sunny Andrews, who has been incredibly consistent this year, doing so many pro shows. She's just been working so hard to try and bring this package on stage. She is definitely one to watch out for. She's just got such amazing shape, and she's also one of the smaller wellness athletes on the scene at about 5'2". So she's going to be competing with a lot of ladies on that wellness stage for the first time at the Olympia. Good luck to you, Dr. Sunny. And then I definitely have to put Angela Borges in there. I think Angela's done the most pro shows out of any wellness competitor on the stage. She transferred from a different federation to the IFBB. And to be honest with you, she's definitely a threat for the title. She is somebody that just looks great. I think Angela's glutes are definitely a talking point for winning. But, you know, good luck to you, Angela, and all the best. And then in my personal top spot, Yarishna Ayala. For me, Yarishna has the best balance right now for wellness, in my opinion, with the waist, the glutes, the legs, the head to toe, you know, everything, X-frame. She's just got the structure that if it won in wellness, I would be very happy to see that win, and then have that be the criteria that filters down into the rest of the wellness for future Olympias, or at least for the next Olympia in 22. So that is my top 5, everyone, from women's bodybuilding all the way to wellness. Might have got some stuff wrong, but I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please make sure to give this video a like. Please make sure to share it. Subscribe to MD on YouTube, because a lot of content is going to be going out over this weekend. And we hope that you enjoy the Olympia. And good luck, everyone that made it onto the Olympia. All 255 athletes. Good luck to you all. And we will see you all again very soon. Bye.